We're only a few days away from Wrestlemania. This is the Heel to the Face podcast, Wrestlemania special. Thank you for joining us. As always on the program, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Heel to the Face. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. As we're joined this week, as always, with Brandon the Icebreaker Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. Myself at KRock Jared on Twitter. And today we're being joined by Dustin Sadek. You can find him on Twitter at Houston Collector. And you can find him on Instagram. I think that's a better social media feed because I think when you're posting pictures of the action figures that he does collect, it's at Houston_collector. I think Twitter is Houston Collect.
Yeah, it's something close like that. I'm not very well versed when it comes to Twitter, so I stick to Instagram. It's easier. I can snap my pictures and move on. You did mention what I was known for on Instagram in the area that was collecting action figures. In the spirit of you guys having me on today, which I really appreciate, I'm more than excited. A little nervous, of course, but I brought you one of the hottest figures on the market going today. I got you Mr. Aleister Black.
This will actually be my first action figure. I'm not a big action figure person. I've never been a souvenir person. I've never been a
wait. Okay, no. We got to back that up. You are definitely a souvenir guy. That's malarkey. Come on,
okay,
man.
well, I collect all the cups.
I was going to say,
normally we have those
pay-per-views as you've been to.
Those collectible cups.
He's got a pillow that was made.
What I mean by that is I've never been someone. I go to tons of baseball games. That's my second passion. And I'm not one of the people that has the books that goes and gets all the autographs.
Yeah, I'm not a big photo guy or anything. Yeah. Mine is just action figures and stuff.
That's awesome.
But if you look at the detail in Aleister Black and the true face scan and everything, even the tattoos they did.
Do you do the new LJN, or not new LJNs, but the new LJN style? My friend has started collecting those, and I think those are really awesome.
They only have the Young Bucks out. So actually, if you look at my Instagram page, I'll take some of the older LJNs. I'll go around the area and I'll get them just banged up, beat up, right from Series 1, 1985, and I'll actually kind of give them a fig bath, so to speak, and restore them and bring them back to new. So just a little hobby.
That's awesome.
The older the figure, the better. Like I said, I love the LJNs. I love the Hasbros from the 90s era.
You got to start doing, I don't know, and you probably know, the Instagram account that, reposes all the figures in every, I think it's Raw is something, but it's the ones who redo the it has the fake crowd behind them.
There's a few. Action figure photography is a huge thing on there. So there's a lot. They
redo the old posters. They redo Austin looking at Tyson, but in figures. And, you know what I mean?
That's cool.
It's insane. They got a lot of talent for sure.
So before we get into WrestleMania, it is this weekend, New York City, MetLife Stadium. We're going to give you our preview. We're even going to give you our preview of NXT. But we're going to talk about some things that happened in the world of wrestling this week. We'll start with the John Oliver piece this past week in what's the show? Last Week Tonight. That's what the show's called. He's very popular.
That's a mouthful.
He's one person who can get things going when it comes to hashtags. And he, being a wrestling fan, acknowledged that the hashtag Gives Divas a Chance in WWE got something going. So he's somebody who's gotten hashtags going before when it comes to certain people with health insurances or just injustices in the news in general, whether it be NCAA paying athletes, cigarette companies, what have you. So this week he took his cause to be wrestlers dying young and the fact that they're independent contractors. They don't have health insurance. But the fact, it is true, whether you like it or not, they're independent contractors, but they sign exclusive deals with WWE. I don't know how that necessarily works. I don't know how they get through that loophole.
To me, it makes no sense.
And one thing he brought up that I was actually unaware of, but part of the contract actually says that they're not responsible for injury, even when it's something that is caused by the promoter. Meaning if Vince McMahon tells you to jump off a building and you get hurt, he's not responsible.
See, I don't like that. And the number one thing is, in the normal workforce, independent contractors, they work, let's say electrician. You work at this building, then next week you work at the next building. If you're working exclusively at WWE, to me, that's not an independent contract. That's the way I look at it.
And they control so much. So usually independent contracting, you're hired to do a specific job.
Exactly.
How you show up to that work site dressed or what time you show up is kind of up for debate or up for negotiation. WWE controls everything in your personal life, including your social media. They control your character. They control the rights to your likeness, to everything. So to call you an independent contractor, I don't see how it's possible.
Well, I'll tell you this, to your point. Rusev, for example, got a lot of push. He got a lot of flack from upper management because he cut his hair. a while back. He did that, and then same thing.
Well, I mean, Eva Marie when she dyed her hair red.
Well,
Like,
Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, you know how he had that wicked, awful, like long hair that you could tell he needed to just
every week it was creeping back further.
And he wanted to shave it off for the longest time, but he had to wait months and months and months before they said, "Yeah, go ahead, shave it." It's WWE controls everything. Like if you get a tattoo, you got to let them know before you do it. Like
because of the fact that those tattoos are featured on the video games as well. So, I mean, that's a big thing. If you get something vulgar or something and they want to put on a video game, they have to change it up, or, you know, they have to get permission from you, from the WWE.
I mean, when you got, like, you have to show up to television tapings, travel on your dime, even if you're not going to be used. And sometimes it's, I mean, SmackDown goes on the air, we'll say at like 8 o'clock. Sometimes it's show up to the arena at noon. And it's not leave, it's not, and you're there till noon. You might not even be used for a segment or get any of that television time. So, yeah, I mean, I guess what we're all saying is WWE has complete and total control.
What do they do now? I'm assuming they all just have private insurance. I'm guessing, I mean, because they all do go to doctors. They all do get checked out. You know what I mean?
That's what I would assume. They have to have private insurance.
So I don't necessarily think that it's the insurance. I think some things that do need to change, and this would be something that I don't think Vince McMahon actually would be a part of. I think it would probably be somebody that Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, those are the guys who seem to be more behind the initiatives of making stuff happen. I don't necessarily think it was Vince McMahon's great scheme to do a lot of stuff like Give the Divas a Chance. I think it was Stephanie and Triple H, more of the modern, progressive ideas of those guys. So I would think it would be them who might get something initiative going. I personally think there should be less house shows. I personally, I'm not saying there necessarily needs to be an off season, but I've always kind of, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but if you give wrestlers certain times off a year and you just rotate it, meaning, so Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, they just keep going, but kind of how they do it now, but because of injury, because, you know, Big Cass gets injured, so he's out for 6 months, or Dean Ambrose is injured, so he's out for 3 months, similar to that, but more or less planned, meaning Dean Ambrose is going to be out for 3 months in the summer just because he's going to be out for 3 months in the summer. You just rotate him in and out, obviously, just like a regular work schedule. You know, you ask for the summer off, he can't get the summer off. He wants, you know, Christmas time off. You can't get Christmas time off. You obviously have levels of wrestlers. You can't let all the top guys take vacation at the same guy. You can't let all the tag teams take vacation at the same time. But maybe Dean Ambrose takes a month off here while Seth Rollins has a run. Seth Rollins takes the following month off, and kind of rotate it around that you write them out of the story. I mean, it's just like that in any piece.
You're going to put longevity on all of their careers. So you're going to get more mileage out of these wrestlers because they'll be able to compete longer. Not only to mention, like, you're going to create probably a more positive workforce. Could you imagine? Kofi mentioned it in SmackDown in a segment a couple of weeks ago when I kind of think it turned a little bit into a shoot where he was like, I've never went trick-or-treating with my child. And I think a lot of wrestlers can relate to that. So could you imagine if you had a few months off to have those moments?
I mean, I think I don't know if I got the number correctly here, but I believe it's 300 days a year they're working.
It's very close to
that,
yeah.
I think it's something like that. So they're never home.
Well,
like
plus
their
now
family,
with AEW,
you
you need WWE, while everyone knows it's the monopoly, it is the main thing. There are still a few people out there who don't necessarily need to go to WWE. Chris Jericho's a good example of that. Kenny Omega's a good example of that. So, again, it's a bargaining chip because people like Kenny Omega do want to eventually work for WWE, but there's certain things that keep them and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and even Chris Jericho, who's older.
Yes.
You know, there's certain people who went to TNA back in the day who had chances to come to WWE. Sting had a chance to come to WWE.
But they want the freedom.
Yeah. They want a little more freedom.
And here's the thing, and speaking of Chris Jericho, I don't know if you guys have read the recent, I think it was on his podcast actually recently. He came out and said that the WWE, he's on the blacklist, according to people there. I didn't listen to the podcast, I kind of read the transcript of it. And he pretty much said that, yeah, he's blacklisted because of like they don't even want to mention him anymore because he's with AEW.
Well, Jim Ross just recently signed a 3-year deal with AEW to be part of their announce team. We all saw he retired like 2 weeks ago or whatever, but didn't even know that he was still working for WWE.
I didn't know that either. I was actually here at the station working, and they actually, Marty Smith, he's a big reporter for ESPN, and he's a big wrestling fan too. So he had Jim Ross on, and Jim Ross was talking about his retirement, and he's like, I'll find something. Like, he already had something lined up, obviously.
I don't know if he was willing to work. Why weren't they using him? I guess I don't understand that. I know that I guess they're trying to get younger.
Yes, they're trying to groom. They're trying to groom the next generation of commentators. I feel like, because here's the thing.
So what were they paying him for? He was under contract.
They probably had him doing behind the scenes stuff. He was probably, I don't know, maybe like in the like the boardroom, so to speak, kind of behind the scenes, maybe assisting the producers, things like that. But I mean, they got to get the other kids ready. I mean, Michael Cole's, I mean, he wants to take a step back. I've read things that he's looking to transition to more of a backstage presence, like help out with the producing side of things. So you have to get guys like Corey Graves ready. You have to get what's the kid's name? Phillips. You got to get him ready. So
Renee Young's new to the role.
Renee Young is new. You have to get these younger broadcasters up. I mean, it's good to have. I mean, to your point, they should have used Jim Ross, maybe even on a kickoff show. Like bring him in and like have him talk, and then maybe
like
Jerry the King in
panel.
there.
The panel.
I'm fine with that, but I didn't know he was still under contract until I heard he's like, yeah, I'm just about to end my contract with WWE. I'm like, wait, I thought you were gone a while ago. It was really weird.
He was always doing independent shows and stuff, which WWE normally doesn't allow. So I was surprised to know that he was still under contract.
Yeah, because he was still doing. I think he did a New Japan Wrestling show when they're in like San Francisco.
Yeah, which is weird because it's like, as we were just talking about earlier, like WWE controls everything you do. So it's like, it's weird how that kind of works. I mean, Brock Lesnar is a good example. Like Brock Lesnar works whatever schedule he wants. He shows up a handful of times a year, and then, I mean, we'll get to the match later, but he could honestly bring that championship, the Universal title, to UFC.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
crazy. That is crazy. I mean, to be honest with you, if he gets in a match with DC, Daniel Cormier is going to wipe the floor with him. That's just, I've been said that many times. I think Cormier, I mean, besides Bones Jones, I hate to say it, I'm not a fan of Cormier, but guess what? The guy's really good.
So was there anything from SmackDown and Raw this past week you want to bring up before we get to WrestleMania and NXT TakeOver results? Or what we feel the results will be?
There's not much. I mean, they were
good for go-home shows, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly announcements, honestly, and then we saw, like, the Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar confrontation. We saw that. I mean, they were talking about the WrestleMania main event being the winner-take-all, so Charlotte's title is going to be on the line. Mostly for me, it was just kind of, it was a good go-home Raw and SmackDown before we get to WrestleMania.
Do you see this the end of the brand extension? I hear all these rumors coming that the brand extension has come to an end again.
I hope so. I'm sorry, but I feel like we're spread too thin right now. Honestly, there's not. I mean, especially on the women's side, there's not a lot of. It's like you have A+ players than everybody else. It's like there's a big drop off. I mean, even with this women's tag team championship, how many real contenders are there?
I think I like the brand extension, but I feel that certain championships should go to both shows. Like the tag team championships and the women's championship, I feel should be on both shows because those rosters are thinner. I feel that, we shouldn't have two tag team championships because we just don't have that many tag teams. So the women's tag team, for example, is hard enough as it is creating women's tag teams that people care about. God knows if they had two women's tag team divisions, but it's hard enough just having one. I mean, we obviously have, because of that, we have people like the Iconics in one of the main events of WrestleMania, in a match at WrestleMania.
Which, I mean, I don't know about you guys. They annoy me. I don't know. They just, I'm not a fan. There's one thing I do like, though. I like that Beth Phoenix is back.
Absolutely.
She looks great. She still can do that. She can still go. I watched her in the ring. She looked good. I didn't see much ring rust.
I didn't feel like this was going to be a one-off. And that's the thing is you never know. Like, okay, she's a Hall of Famer. She's retired. But in no way did it feel like this was going to be a one-off thing. Granted, they can't make it seem that way because if her and Natalya are really hunting down those titles, you don't want them to know, like, okay, they fail and then we don't see her again.
Exactly.
But even with the build-up, I'm just like, I think she has another going or she's going to stick around.
Yeah, I think she's going to have a run. I mean, I would
similar
say
to Kurt Angle.
I would say, yeah, Kurt Angle, Goldberg, something like that. Just, it's going to be short-lived, but I'm going to enjoy it because she looked great. I mean, she is a powerhouse, and she
Absolutely.
I feel like she hasn't skipped a beat. And I mean, they were talking about on the broadcast. She still works out just like she was when she was in the ring, so like before. So she's like, her endurance is definitely there. She looks good. She's obviously good friends with Natalya, so it's not hard to get back in the ring and knock some of that rust off before you get on the live TV. So
could you see if that doesn't work out this Sunday that turns into a future match, Natalya versus Beth Phoenix? Could that be a storyline?
Here's my take
on that. Or do you
think
Beth Phoenix maybe goes for the title?
It's possible. My thought process is if you were going to do this whole Beth Phoenix Natalya thing, knowing that they're best friends, you'd have already started that, and you would have had this match at WrestleMania.
Started planting the seeds.
You would have planted the seeds a while ago, and you would have had it not as a main event, but you would have like this big feud, kind of like a we got Shane McMahon and Miz having this feud. You would have planted those seeds a little while ago and said, maybe Beth screwed Natalya, vice versa. I thought you were my friend, and then
it could be a build up for SummerSlam,
maybe.
something a big pay-per-view. Just because I feel like Natalya's kind of nearing the end of her career. And how sweet would it be to go out and have some of your final matches or a final run with one of your best friends?
That's true. SummerSlam, I don't mind that. I mean, that's a possibility. You could see the seeds kind of planting, as WrestleMania is upon us. I like that. I think SummerSlam's not a bad idea. Back
to the Iconics. They're the wrong kind of annoying. They're over the top. So remember, Carmella was very annoying, but it reached that like annoying. It's so annoying, it's funny, and now I'm entertained. Yes. I haven't reached that point with the Iconics, but it's weird.
Could it be the foreign translation? Could it be the fact that they're
the accents
Australian?
Don't help. I'm going to be honest. The accents do not help.
I will say this though. I mean, out of the two, I'm not a fan. I don't like Billie Kay as much. I'll just say that. I like what's her name? Not Billie. What's Billie Kay's partner's name in that duo? I always forget.
Sarah? Is it? No.
I'm losing it now.
I forgot it now, but I like her more. I think she not only. And I was actually watching the show, this past week. I think she has more sex appeal too. I think that's part of it. I mean, yes, we're pushing wrestling on the women's side. I get that. But you still got to look good and do it, right?
Absolutely.
Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce, thank you. I should know that because actually that's going to be my daughter's first name is Peyton. I should have remembered that, so shame on me on that one. But yes, Peyton Royce, honestly, I feel like Billie Kay's holding her back. I don't see the star factor with Billie Kay. I see the star factor out of the two. I see Peyton Royce.
Well, I believe it was Peyton Royce who was the one who was initially getting kind of the push.
In NXT, she was doing really well.
Yeah. And it's like Billie Kay's kind of like, I hate to say it like this, but she's kind of like riding the coattails.
Yeah.
I just don't think Billie Kay is. Honestly, she should still be in NXT. That's just my viewpoint.
There's some developmental issues there for sure.
Absolutely.
So NXT Takeover, it's at the Barclays Center on Friday night. They moved it because, well, when this all began, they were scared about the New Japan Ring of Honor show at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night going up against it. Seems like the same audience, the same 18 to 24 demographic that's going to want to go to both of those shows. So out of fear, they decided to move NXT to Friday night. And, well, they've had some issues, obviously. Tommaso Ciampa getting hurt.
Again.
You have Aleister Black and Ricochet on what will now be the WrestleMania card as well, but they're on the NXT card. So let's actually start with that match. War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet for the NXT Tag Team Championships. What do you see happening here?
Honestly, I mean, I feel like Aleister Black and Ricochet are they're main roster guys now. That's the way I feel at this point. I think it's going to be one hell of a match. I mean, the War Raiders are fantastic. They had a great match with the Undisputed Era in the previous Takeover. I think it was the one in Phoenix.
Yes.
So they had a great showing.
Aleister Black was in the War Raiders, yes.
Yeah,
Aleister Black and Ricochet were in separate matches.
War Raiders, they've been good. That match with the Undisputed Era that was one of the best matches I've seen in a while, especially tag team. I will say this. If it wasn't for Aleister Black and Ricochet, pretty much their main roster guys, I'd say they got a really good shot. But because of that storyline, I feel like that's in place. War Raiders they're gonna retain the titles.
WWE struggled to find out what to do with Aleister Black and Ricochet. They're absolutely my favorite, even though it doesn't really make sense how they came together or anything. They were just kind of shown. So we had very good character development with Aleister Black on NXT. Same thing with Ricochet. The NXT fans, the core fans of the product, understood that. And then when you move to Raw,
it's a different audience.
Yeah, it's a larger audience. So you have the casual viewer, and you have the casual viewers that aren't really invested in these guys because they just kind of appear stuck together. And then you have the core fans that are kind of like, what's going on with this?
Why aren't these guys singles guys?
But they're so good with their with their skill ability that we just kind of accepted it and looked past all kind of like holes punched. Like we didn't punch holes in the character development of these two guys coming together. Nothing. We love them so much.
Well, I don't think they were supposed to put them together. I still stand by the fact that them coming to WWE was an advertisement for them on NXT. That's why they didn't get called up like everybody else. The Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, we see the regular calls up. It seemed like they were just advertising NXT. They had the NXT banner under their names. So it felt like they were just there to advertise. And I personally thought that every week it was going to be like a changeable.
You thought it was going to be a different
next week
superstar.
It was going to be Adam Cole on Raw. I thought it was simply just an advertisement to get more eyes on NXT. Kind of calling up that guy from AAA to kind of say, hey, he's heading back to AAA. Come out and see him now that he's been in the majors. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
That kind of thing.
That makes sense.
And I feel that's what it was. And I think things got switched around with Tommaso Ciampa obviously getting hurt. Obviously they brought up
Adam. He always gets hurt.
Gargano then obviously really hasn't been back up.
No, Johnny Wrestling's been sitting. He's been sitting down in the NXT. He hasn't ever since Tommaso got hurt. That's it.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, though? It's an odd pairing with Ricochet and Aleister Black, but it works. It
like
really
you said,
works.
We just kind of accept it.
You just like it. I mean, when they came up, I was like, okay, they're just doing a tag team match just to get them introduced to the audience that hasn't seen them, that don't watch NXT. And I'm like, okay, so these guys are probably going to be singles wrestlers, maybe. Maybe they're going to be mid-card to start. No, they throw them in the tag team championship picture. It's great.
See, I looked at it more so as like rather than an advertisement for NXT, I kind of felt like it was the McMahons hitting the panic button when the casual audience was starting to revolt, the core fans were starting to revolt, and they came out and they made this promise that they were giving control back to the universe. They were going to listen to it, and then they were just kind of like, here's a bunch of guys you love. And that's the way I felt.
I like that. That's a good
Vince
take.
just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, we got to do something, and they put them out there. But either way, like you said, it works. We love them. I can't see them going over the War Raiders.
No.
From some of the things I've read on the message boards, which I don't agree with, they said that the War Raiders have had a very underwhelming tag run compared to other tag teams in NXT, and I completely disagree.
Yeah, the message board people, I'm just going to call you out. You're absolutely wrong.
100%.
Now, remember, a big thing here is the fact that the championships are a good indication about call-ups for Raw. So essentially what you're saying is if the War Raiders retain their titles, we're not going to see them on Monday Night Raw. They're not getting called up this time around.
That's fine for now. I'm okay with the War Raiders having a nice rundown in NXT for a while. I do see them up at some point in the near future. I don't see them dropping the titles, honestly, at this point. I think let them enjoy their run for a little bit and then bring them up.
They're believable. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
No.
I was just going to say, when they beat Undisputed Era, my thought process was, okay, we're going to see Undisputed Era, which I have been reading some rumblings that don't be surprised if you see them soon. Because guess what? You got to replace the Shield. You got to have some group come up and steal the show. And I'm telling you right now, Adam Cole is fantastic. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, I love those guys. And Roderick Strong. Can't forget about Roderick Strong.
I'm taking War Raiders as well because of the fact with Aleister Black and Ricochet doing double duty this weekend. That'd be crazy for them to be tag champs of WWE and NXT.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. UK Championship is going to be on the line. I guess that's what gives this NXT TakeOver a little bit of the WrestleMania feel that they're bringing in the UK guys, and they're doing the UK Championship. Pete Dunne defending his championship, super long champion, as we all know. Do you see him losing the belt to, I'm not familiar with this Walter character.
Walter is this big bruiser from Australia. I mean, I'll say this. Pete Dunne's been a champion, I believe, for like over 600 days. It's been a long time. It's been like a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I love Pete Dunne. And Pete Dunne and, Tyler Bate? Mm-hmm. They put on some great matches.
Man.
It made me flip over to watch a little of the UK stuff because when I was introduced to those two put on a hell of a show. So those guys are fantastic. Pete Dunne has been a hell of a champion. He's been doing a great job. He's represented the brand the right way.
Absolutely.
Walter, I'm not gonna lie. I'm very limited in what I've seen out of him, but everything that I've read, the guy's the real deal. I do think Walter's going to take it. I really do. I think it's Pete.
I'm going to say
course.
Walter just because I feel they're going to do maybe more now with Pete Dunne. I think maybe Pete Dunne. I don't know if this is a thing that is NXT UK considered to be under NXT.
It's just all one branding.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the same level, I would say.
Because I mean, I feel like Pete Dunne could maybe graduate into going now for the main NXT championship. And not being just under the UK brand as much as
I feel like he wants to be there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that. Walter, same thing. I know very little about him. YouTube some highlights, YouTube some things when he appeared in the picture. It was Westside Extreme Wrestling, Progress, and Evolve, all from like Germany, Australia, England, those promotions. Really made a global name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was concerned when Walter comes over. If he was going to drop the title to Dunne, I feel like it would be over in Europe, over in the UK. I don't know how well he's going to translate to Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So Walter's he's a bred talent over in the UK. He's a bred talent over in Germany. And to come out to Brooklyn in front of a U.S. audience, although it's going to be watched worldwide, that might not be his picture.
And you know what? I'll say this to your point. I think it's WWE. It obviously has stock in this guy because they're not going to put him on. They're not going to put him on for this type of match if they don't see a bright future. I think it's actually going to, because I'll be honest, we all watch wrestling. We're all fans. I think we all can agree. How much we've seen of this guy? Very little. I think it's gonna be a really good introduction. I have high hopes for the guy. I think he's going to be a great asset to the NXT roster.
The contract signing was so hyped on NXT UK this week, and it was beautifully done. One of the things I love about their product is they take the comedic element completely out of it. It's serious. It's almost like the badass wrestling. Like we're not here to make jokes. We're here to get a job done, and that's where like you can kind of, rather than having all that comic relief in the WWE or even sometimes just NXT, the product itself, switch over to UK and it just has that serious feel to it.
And it's the problem with NXT and the UK and all these having the serious feel. I mean, that is one of the main issues why a lot of guys don't translate to WWE. I personally, I remember Aleister Black on SmackDown when he made his debut, and immediately it was like nails on a chalkboard, because you're used to seeing this guy who's like an Undertaker-style character, and you're seeing him in a more serious element of NXT. When I saw him in NXT TakeOver, it's the hardcore 20-year-old, 30-year-old wrestling fan, and now you're seeing him in front of kids who've never seen him before. You're seeing with Tom Phillips as the announcer, like the colors of SmackDown, the half-full arena, and it'd be, you know, like it's like watching maybe like the current Undertaker back in like 95 WWF, like. You know what I mean? It doesn't translate that's when I realized what the main issue is with a lot of guys getting called up, is because they come from this indie hard, like more treated like UFC, I guess, wrestling, where it's hardcore indie wrestling fans who are super into wrestling and start chants and get the arena really going, move up to like kid-friendly WWF. And I think Aleister Black is the biggest one who has a problem with that, because he has the darker, brute character. So it doesn't translate so well into, you know, it's hard to watch the New Day and then Aleister Black.
Absolutely.
It's hard to see Aleister Black go up against the New Day as they're throwing pancakes into the crowd.
Is Aleister Black, in your opinion, do you think he's that bad on the mic? I think he's all right.
He's that bad on the mic.
I don't think he's. I mean, he's not Miz.
When we talk about
good.
Essentially the translation of NXT to WWE, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like a different product.
Yeah, it's definitely a different product. I mean, I think all of us can agree. We don't watch NXT every single episode. Like I go through spurts. Like I'll catch up and I'll see the reports online just to see what's going on, just to kind of keep my head in the game, so to speak. But my thing is, Aleister Black, he is like the Undertaker character. He's gonna be over with these fans. It's gonna, just the way he comes out when he's laying up and he pops up, and when he comes in the entrance. To me, it's not gonna take long for the fans, even the non-casual fans, to really get. I think he's already over. Honestly, I feel like that. And Ricochet, because of his, high flying, he does these awesome maneuvers. I mean, the guy must have been a gymnast, honestly.
He's a spectacle.
He's awesome.
You have your hardcore marks that are going to love him, and then you have the casual fan that's going to...
Oh, high-flying
guy.
Yeah,
whether it's on TV or the money they're paying to sit in those seats, how are you not going to love the show that guy puts on? And then Aleister's incredibly marketable.
He is, and he's Undertaker, but he's not Undertaker. He's got some things about him. I mean, he's very athletic. Not to say Undertaker wasn't athletic, but, Undertaker was more of a, he was, in your face. He was more of a bruiser, so to speak. Honestly, Aleister shows a lot of finesse in the ring. Believe it or not, yes, he can get in there and he's got the MMA background, so he can lay the kicks and the punches on you. But he has a finesse to his game. I love when he does that springboard off the middle rope and then does a flip and stands, or then he rolls into his little Indian stance, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I love that. He's a great combination. He's like a high flying version of Undertaker is how I look at it. And then Ricochet, to me, he reminds me. I mean, I would say he's even more athletic than this guy. But I know a lot of people growing up. I was growing up in the Attitude Era. Even the fans that don't really watch wrestling, they still remember like Jeff Hardy. Just because of what he did, the crazy things. Aleister Black, I feel like, is going to be like that to this generation of kids. I think people are going to remember him like, hey, man, this guy, you're going to see him in like TLC matches doing things that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
So moving on to the NXT North American Championship, Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle. I'll give you my prediction. I think it's Matt Riddle because I want to say
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle. You're right. Why do I keep saying Riddle?
I was going to say it's not.
I've been saying that forever.
I don't know. Yeah. Come
Matt
on.
Riddle versus Velveteen Dream. I want to say it's going to be Matt Riddle because I want to see Velveteen Dream on Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely. Can I just say, first off, that North American title is probably my favorite belt of all times. It was the Winged Eagle. It's been the Winged Eagle forever.
Yes.
I am obsessed with this North American title.
I mean, aside from the title itself, that belt is fantastic. I just love the way Dream, holds on to that belt. I think Dream is my guy, but selfishly, I think he's losing because I feel like he needs to come up to the roster. But you can't. Here's my thing. I don't want to stunt the growth of Matt Riddle. I don't want to stunt the growth. I think a loss for Velveteen is it's not going to hurt him. It's not going to hurt his stock. Matt Riddle, you're putting so much stock in him right now. A loss, I feel like, is going to do more detriment to him and his growth as his character continues to build. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Matt Riddle's winning this match.
The only thing I have for this match is for WWE product all week long. Watch for this to possibly be the match that absolutely steals the show. And I say that because of the combination of skill and ability that both of these have. So Riddle is a very strong worker. He's stiff. He hits hard. And then you have the finesse and athleticism with Dream, and I think it's going to match up really well.
It's going to be a fun match.
Absolutely.
Fatal 4-way for the Women's Championship. I'm going to go right up and say it. I think Bianca Belair. I saw her at the Takeover in Phoenix. I'm taking her because, again, I think maybe it's Shayna Baszler's time to make her debut on either Raw or SmackDown this upcoming week.
I agree with that Shayna Baszler's she's going to lose this title, but I have a different outcome. I think
Who you got?
I think Io's going to win. Io, the way they've been using her on shows in the last I would say the last few months since the previous Takeover, I think she's winning. They're building her up. Honestly, who doesn't want to see Io versus Kyrie? They're friends. It kind of has this Bayley Sasha thing about it in a different way, but it's because they're good friends. I could see WWE doing something like that for a little while.
Maybe down the line, though. I think that we need to see that friendship play out a little more on air. I see exactly what you're saying, but I'm going with you guys. I'm going to say it's Belair's going to win for sure. She proved it in Phoenix.
She's good.
For sure.
She's a real deal.
And then it's gonna be Baszler's time to go to the main roster.
Yeah.
Whether she's gonna give Rousey company or she's gonna go do her own thing.
I feel like the four horsewomen are gonna. I think we're gonna see the WWE's four horsewomen versus the four horsewomen of MMA, so to speak. I think that's happening. I think Shayna's coming up, even though the other two are not ready, they're coming up.
So the main event for NXT TakeOver, Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant championship. This is a tough one because I could see either of these guys getting called up on Monday Night Raw. I think both of them have been in NXT for probably too long, especially Adam Cole. I feel he's been in there for too long. I mean, he's just he was really hot, I want to say, like 2 years ago, especially in that War Games match that they were promoting. And since then, it's cooled off. He hasn't gotten the promotion like when the NXT guys made it on the Raw. He wasn't one of them. He wasn't even on the last NXT TakeOver card.
Weird, very weird, very weird. And I will say this: who do you got winning this match?
I'm gonna say Adam Cole, just because I feel maybe it's Gargano who's gonna make the official call up.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree with you. To my point earlier, I think Undisputed Era is on their way up. They're gonna get the call up. So for me, it makes no sense for me to pick Adam Cole to win this because that would mean they're all staying down. Regardless, it's gonna be up there with Dream and Riddle for the match of the night. I think it's gonna be a great show. I think Johnny's gonna hold that. He's gonna hold that belt for a while. I don't see him. I mean, they kind of advertised him up in WWE in the main roster for just a little bit. I think he's gonna go down. He's gonna hold that title for a while. And Adam Cole and the crew they're gonna be up. So Johnny Gargano's gonna win this match.
Yeah, right. I think it's his time to get the keys to the kingdom. Raw, SmackDown, they can't bleed NXT dry to fill their roster, so somebody's got to hang back and still make the product there viewable. He's definitely the individual to do it. And Undisputed, I can absolutely see them coming up very soon.
Yeah.
One, because we talked about all these transitional issues earlier about how well they do in NXT, and the casual audience doesn't really buy into it. Undisputed, whether you're talking about like different age ranges, different age groups, they are going to transition so well, even from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah.
You want to sell the armbands on the WWE shop, you want to sell, kids are going to fall in love with just this badass group of guys. Yeah, they're very marketable.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, obviously, we all believe that Dean Ambrose is probably on his way out. I mean, everything that we've read and seen, unless they do this massive turn on us real quick, the Shield's done. We gotta have this trio, come up and kind of fill that void.
Again, the only problem I have is, we always had these great expectations. That is wrestling fans. We have these great expectations
all the time,
and then next week we're going to complain about everything.
Yes, very true.
Very true. We have all these hype for Undisputed Era, but obviously we see what they're doing with Sanity. And what?
Which
that hurts.
by the way, for the record, that is a they dropped the ball on that one seriously.
They've dropped the ball on a lot of things.
Sanity.
They're continually dropping the ball on Elias.
You're using them as the henchman for Shane now. Like, come on.
And Miz just single-handedly took all of them out.
How does that
Miz
make you
is
look?
on like a Roman Reigns run right now. I mean, he took out like the week before he took out like 9 security guards, a fleet of wrestlers, and then this week like it was Falls Count Anywhere, and he just single-handedly destroys Sanity. I'm like, he's getting that Roman Reigns push. Like, he's Superman.
Miz is blazing right now. He's on fire.
Yeah, so, all right, that's going to be for NXT. Let's move over to Sunday night, the main card, WrestleMania. Now, I'll just say this much. I'm fine with WrestleMania being long. This one's going to be a little bit different, though, because you're on the East Coast, for one. 2 years ago, WrestleMania, when it was in Orlando, was on the East Coast, but otherwise they've been in central time zones, so it doesn't even end at midnight. So when I was in Orlando, it did end about 12:15. But again, that was Orlando, too. 90-degree weather, outdoors. The temperature on Sunday, I believe a high of 60 during the day. When the sun goes down, we're looking in the 40s.
All right, boys,
So,
bring your hoodies. All right.
That's what hurts. And essentially, so to speak, WrestleMania is in our backyard this year. You're well traveled.
Yeah.
You do a lot of this. You said you're going to brave it, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's on a streak. What are you at, 5 now?
This will be my 4th in a row,
See?
6
Can't even
overall.
pretend I'm not jealous, but as soon as I found out Mania was coming to New York,
I would rather not be in New York. to be
as a
honest
New
with you, though.
Yorker, I'm like, I don't want to spend this money to freeze. I mean, we know now as it nears, we're not going to be brushing snow off of our seats. But when tickets went on sale, that was still in my mind.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
It's New York.
Well, I mean, it's still a
Man.
possibility. They're bringing the heated ring again this time around. I don't know what their love is with New York, why they have it. It's the only place.
it's
the same with the Super Bowl. The only time the Super Bowl has
It's
been
the
in
big
cold weather
city.
outdoors.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the big city. It's the draw.
Now,
can
I'm
push
personally
the
a fan
prices
of.
a
I'm
little
personally a fan
higher.
of when it was in Orlando or when it's going to be in Tampa because it gives you that vacation feel.
I'm
New
going to
York
cater
City-
to you, though. I'm going to cater to you real quick, not to cut you off. I'm going to cater to you. Toronto, why don't you do it where the Blue Jays play?
Well, they've done it obviously twice with the Blue Jays
Well,
play.
no, I'm saying,
I
like-
feel it's a little small.
I don't think
for-
so.
I think they got 68,000 or so when they had the last 2 ones there.
What's
Now they're
the-
pushing like 75,
What's the
80,000.
advertisement for this? 80,000 this year?
Yeah, that's what they
what
did
they're
last year in
saying.
MetLife, 80,000.
You think it's gonna? You think?
I mean, it's already sold out. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you think it's gonna snow though? That's what I.
No,
wanna know.
I don't think it's going to snow, but I mean, it's still going to be. When I was at WrestleMania last time around, and it was when it was in New York City last time around, it was still under the 7 to about 10:30 time, and I was about ready to go. It was pretty cold. I mean,
Yeah, that's
for standing outside.
I mean,
yeah.
Jared, I know you're gonna go. Dustin, are you on the fence right now?
See, what happened is it was such a hard no. As soon as tickets went on sale, it was advertised for New York. Like I said, just being a New Yorker, I'm like, I'm not braving the elements. As it's inching closer, I'm
got the
getting
itch.
that itch.
Yeah.
Like you start thinking about it. I'm laying in bed at night and I'm scrolling ticket prices on my phone. And then same thing, before we went on the air, we talked about the WrestleMania Access card was revealed, and meeting Pete Dunne. Like, I'm such a mark for Pete Dunne. I'm like, that's it. I'm doing it. Pete Dunne, Sunday, 8 a.m. That's when he's there. Like, I'm driving down
Yeah,
Saturday
you know-
night. I'm meeting Pete. It's happening.
That's cool.
When
I like
WrestleMania was in New York City last time around, they actually had it at the Izod Center. They had access to the Izod Center and then the Raw the night after. So the Izod Center is the old home of the New Jersey Nets, which is on the property of MetLife Stadium. And that's like a perfect place to have that because you could go to the 8 a.m. and literally at 12 o'clock walk right out and go to WrestleMania. Like, you could park your car once for the day. I think they made it, if I'm not mistaken, they might have even had a noon to 4 access that day because
They'll
of the
have
fact.
one this year, too, yeah.
Do they have a noon to 4 though this
They
year?
have, which is...
On Sunday?
Is it noon to 4 or is it... No, it ends at 1. You're right.
yeah.
It ends
And
at 1.
speaking of
Because
access,
the year they were in New York City last time, they did it up until 4 because you're already there. You're at the site of WrestleMania. You have no
what
travel.
time's
Yeah.
Luke Harper on then? He's going to be on there. I saw him.
I know
promote
he's
it on-
wrestling, yes.
Yeah,
he's
gonna be
wrestling
on
on
it.
Thursday in that Worlds Collide tournament.
Worlds Collide.
He put something out on Twitter this week that it's a setback and that he's had better days, but he's going to continue to fight through this.
He had a real good attitude
Yeah,
towards it.
I root hard for him. He's local. He's local. He's a
Yeah,
local guy.
Rochester boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to the WrestleMania card itself. We'll start with the pre-show itself. The matches that are advertised for the pre-show, we have 3 of them. We have the Cruiserweight Championship again because they obviously don't want to make anything of that.
Yeah.
The reason 205 Live is not a big deal is because they don't make it a big deal. So let's start with the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy, Alexa Bliss's significant other against Tony Nese, who won the tournament on 205 Live. I only watched the part of the tournament of the SmackDown that I attended a few weeks ago. Other than that, I watched none of it.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say, I'll say Buddy Murphy. I really have no pick on this.
Yeah, I'll go Buddy Murphy. I mean,
yeah,
I don't really watch 205.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy. If anyone's gonna make 205 relevant, it's this guy.
Yeah.
People are sleeping on him, but he's gaining traction. The last pay-per-view, people were excited to see him. So
and he puts good matches.
He really does. He has the look. He has everything. Yeah. He's a star.
And nothing against Tony Nese. I mean, he's the bod too. He's got he's pretty ripped himself, but. I mean, I think Buddy's way more marketable at this point.
So let's move on to the Women's Battle Royal. They've had a year to actually change the name when they had the Fabulous Moolah as the name, and they took it off last year's Battle Royal. They had a year to give it a new name, but they haven't. It's just going to be the second annual Women's Battle Royal. These Battle Royals mean nothing. I think we've learned that. First year when Cesaro won it, we thought it was going to be the springboard, and no, nothing.
Nothing.
So who you got winning this Women's Battle Royal? I'm looking at the...
I'm going Lacey Evans as a shocker.
That's a good
They're
one.
giving her a lot of all of these walkouts and everything else. It's got to be building to something. I mean, the WWE lets us down on a regular basis with things that don't make any sense.
Every week.
But I'm going, I could see Asuka's the easy choice for sure.
Yeah.
She
I wish
jumps
this
out
had
at
like
you.
a number one contendership. I wish this had something important.
You know what, Dustin? I like where your head's at.
Thanks, man. I'm going to dig in with Lacey Evans for sure.
I'm in on
Final
Lacey
answer.
Evans. He got me. I'm sold.
I'm going to go with Naomi. I'm going to pick Naomi.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'm going to go with Naomi.
Mandy Rose is.
Whoa, hey, wait. Let's get Corey Graves on the line. I think that's who he's going to
be. So the men's battle royal, you got Colin Jost and Michael Che of Saturday Night Live. You got Andrade, Braun Strowman. What a waste. The Hardy Boys, you bring them back together to have them on the pre-show battle royal. I mean, that's just awful. I mean, all the names that you're wasting in this, essentially. But who you got? Last year, Matt Hardy won, so I'm not going to say he's going to win this year because he won last year, obviously, with Bray Wyatt in the start of their tag team, their short-lived tag team. I'm going to say Braun Strowman. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's
and I think the fact
option.
that this is probably going to be on the USA Network, so it's it's going to be the most PG advertisement for WWE prior to WrestleMania. You're going to not have Andrade or Apollo Crews. You're going to have Braun Strowman win it.
Yeah, Braun Strowman's got it.
My gut goes Braun Strowman. Just to kind of throw it out there and make things a little interesting, we could say Bray Wyatt returns. And this could be that new jump start for Bray.
I like it.
Or they had some real plans for Lars Sullivan. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Lars Sullivan come in.
Well, Lars Sullivan, I mean...
He's been in hibernation after he had some issues.
Some what was it, anxiety?
Yeah, he's got some anxiety problems. Yeah.
What about Gronk? Could he win this?
Nah, Gronk, not
New York. Bringing Gronk to New York, I don't think he'd survive in that.
No. I mean, here's the thing. If it was at like Fenway Park, I'd say Gronk, but because he'll get a rip. The whole crowd would just be nuts. But in New York, they don't like him in New York, so it's to me.
Well, I mean, that could work both ways, though. Obviously, I mean, WWE loves heels.
You could boo the hell out of him. That fair point, but honestly, Braun Strowman is the only choice here in my book.
Side note off of Gronk really quick, celebrity-wise. Are we going to see McGregor?
I don't think so.
Me either.
I don't think so either. As much as I like McGregor.
I feel like McGregor, if we're going to see McGregor, that would be like a Tyson. That would be like a Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
That'd be something that would be in the promotion.
Yeah.
I don't think they would waste somebody like that as a surprise. They're not good about surprises. They love advertising things because they're afraid that you're not going to tune in.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's one of the reasons why, obviously, people were talking about Finn Balor revealing he's going to be the Demon King. They should have saved that for WrestleMania.
Let's save it.
Yeah, I don't think that's sold any more WrestleMania buys this week or any more network sales. So that could have been a cool surprise.
I think the Demon's undefeated, too.
Well, you're going to be the Demon for the IC title, but not the Universal title against the Beast. I mean, we get it. We know why the Demon can't lose to the Beast and Lesnar needed to win, but character development wise or plot wise, how are you not going to break out the Demon for the Universal title against Brock Lesnar?
It makes no sense.
So last year the IC title led off the show, but I'm going to say hopefully WWE, it makes sense. That's going to be later on in the show, obviously, because you got to wait till it gets dark out.
Yeah.
For any of that stuff to happen. So
absolutely. Let's
get to the main card. I think what's going to lead off the show will be the Falls Count Anywhere match with The Miz and Shane McMahon. Who you got in that?
Oof, that is a tough one. I mean, as Dustin was saying earlier, I don't
think it's tough. I think Shane lays down for the Miz.
Miz is on fire.
It's the company.
Yeah, but
man.
It's a McMahon, so it's McMahon. They can always win. But
they always lose. They always build themselves up to lose. Vince McMahon.
But it's a McMahon thing. You never know. They don't give us what we want half the time. So Miz is on fire. I don't see Miz. I don't see Miz losing this.
Such great promos. And counterpoint, Shane's promos have been on point.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
we all knew this because as soon as they became best friends or whatever the name of the tag team
besties,
was,
yeah.
right away we knew that there was going to be some sort of turn. And we knew it and we waited for it and it happened and no one was surprised. But when Shane came out and cut that promo, he made sense. If we always look at Shane, he's such a likable dude. He's probably the most approachable McMahon. So in his real life and bringing in the storyline, why would people not ask Shane for favors? Why would they not try to rub elbows with him, get close to him? Because he's such a nice guy. And same thing, he helped Biz out. And maybe there's just that clicking point in his head where he's like, you know what? I'm somebody. Like, I'm almost a billionaire like my father. Like, I've helped all these people. Like, this is my time now. Like, I'm done doing for others. You're going to do for me. And I'm going to be like my father. I'm a boss. I'm in charge. I liked it. It was a believable turn. And also, we're going to get a Shane spot. You're not going to make it Falls Count anywhere if they're not going to give us a Shane spot. I'm pumped.
I'm going for the Miz either way. I said the Miz.
I think Miz is
going to win this match.
Yeah.
Moving on, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. I thought their promos have been great for this match. I love Randy Orton calling out AJ Styles' independent career. I love Randy Orton, AJ Styles calling out Randy Orton for his drug offenses.
Hey, all his issues.
Yeah.
Anybody else but Randy Orton would have been fired.
I don't think this match
ago.
is going to be too grand. I don't think this is going to be something that steals the show.
It'll be a solid match.
But I see Randy Orton winning.
Yeah, and it's cool. It came full circle because Randy Orton was the legend killer, and now he's kind of feeling like he's nearing the end of his career.
Yeah.
And I mean, AJ's older, but in the sense of WWE, he's very new, and this is the house that AJ built. He's the face that runs the place, and Orton, this old legend, kind of put out to pasture is like, we're not going to forget about me. You're not going to come in here. Yeah, I built this house. I'm going to go with Randy Orton. You got to give it to him, man. I feel like he kind of deserves it.
So, Jared, you got Randy Orton. Dustin's got Randy Orton. I'm going to go AJ. I mean, I'm an AJ guy. I'm just like you're a Pete Dunne guy.
Okay.
I'm an AJ guy.
It's going to be a clinic no matter what because although there's a little bit of a grudge match feel, these aren't two guys that truly hate each other. They respect each other. They respect each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a wrestling match, and who can wrestle more fluid than these two guys?
It's going to be fun. They're naturals. They're naturals.
The next one we can gloss over real quick because it's an easy one. I'm actually surprised he's getting a singles match, but either way, I think we're going to all be pretty universal here. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre. This is one of those. This is like going to a house show when the Brock Lesnar's defending Universal title in Elmira, New York. You know he's not losing it in Elmira, New York 2 nights before the pay-per-view. You know Roman Reigns isn't losing to Drew McIntyre. That would be the biggest swerve of the night, having Roman Reigns lose. Roman Reigns is obviously winning this match. This is the negative of wrestling when it's just that predictable.
It's too predictable. I'm gonna go Roman Reigns. There's not much to add to that.
I'll go Roman. Did you hear some of the boos on Raw though? It's coming back.
Yeah, well, people are like, all right, we know you beat cancer. Good.
Yeah,
right, boo.
I think the first few receptions he received was just people as being good human beings are like, we're glad that you're okay and you survived this. But now that you're okay and your character's okay, let's get back to what we were doing before you left.
But I will say this though. I know it was an easy match to pick from that perspective, but Drew McIntyre has been doing a hell of a job. So he's
a star too, absolutely.
I'm enjoying him. He's really reinvented himself since his the 3MB days. So.
Well, somebody else, just like Drew McIntyre, who they just set up to kind of lose to people, and that's Kurt Angle. This is another one, obviously. Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin. This is pretty easy. I think we're all going to just pick Kurt Angle. I mean, he's not going to lose against Baron Corbin. I would maybe say if he was going against somebody good. I don't know why they're not bringing out John Cena for this. I don't know why they're not bringing out somebody better, but they're giving us Baron Corbin. I would actually rather see Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, and then you can scrap that whole U.S. match.
Just bring John Cena in, you know?
I think we might see it. I'm hoping... Again, sometimes we put too much faith in WWE, but I'm hoping we see that swerve because they got to be sitting behind the scenes giggling, knowing that nobody wants Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin. And they did set up a good spot for Corbin's ankle to be injured after that ankle lock when Raw went off. So maybe it's a last-minute replacement. Because like you said, WrestleMania is almost sold out.
You can fly Cena in anyway real quick.
Yeah, this might be something that you might not have to advertise. It's probably not going to be like The Undertaker, but it could be a Cena replacement or something. They can't do Kurt like that.
I'm good with Cena. I think it's, I mean that's the memorable moment, ruthless aggression back in the day. Full circle. I want to see the swerve. I want John Cena there.
If Kurt and Corbin do take the ring and there is no swerve, Kurt's going to win, but man, I can't wait to watch these New Yorkers absolutely rip this match apart.
Yeah.
And I don't even think out of respect for Kurt, like, you know what I mean? Like, well, let's just hold off. It's his final match. I think they're going to be true New Yorkers, and they're going to be very sorry if they put these two in the ring.
Yeah,
they will. They will hijack this match.
Yeah, and I'll say this right now, Kurt Angle. There's no way in hell he's losing.
No, he can't.
No, not a chance.
No holds barred. Triple H puts his career on the line, so I think that kind of gives it away that he's probably going to beat Batista in the no holds barred match at WrestleMania. The fact that he's never beaten Batista, he lost in 2005, 3 matches in a row to this guy. I think it's they built Batista up as this big heel. So I obviously am going to take Triple H in this one.
Oof.
I mean, his career's on the line. Now, necessarily, it's kind of weird that he's even putting his career on the line because you kind of wonder what kind of career he even has.
I'm going to say
it's like The Undertaker putting his career on the line. Like, it's just a special attraction. Triple H ain't going for any title runs.
I'm going Batista in this match. Here's my thing. I mean, Triple H is doing a hell of a job down in NXT, and obviously he's been doing some stuff. I mean, not all of it on the main stuff. I think it just is his way of, he's going to go out with, and let's be real, those two are good friends.
Yeah.
I think I think it's okay for him to lose this match to one of his friends. I might be the oddball on this one, but I think Batista's winning.
I was just confused by the entire setup because Batista wanted this match so bad. He was so enraged. I mean, we all know the "Give Me What I Want" promo. And he's just so enraged, but in all reality, they planted seeds for this back at the 1000th episode of SmackDown.
Absolutely.
When Batista made the comment that you've beaten everybody, you've done everything in this ring except beat me. And then Ric Flair kind of joked around and cooler heads prevailed. They hugged it out. Triple H was the annoyed one. Triple H had that to chew on. Batista's already obviously proven everything, so he comes in this rage, and it's just like, I feel like roles should be reversed, and Triple H should be...
They did this, I want to say, when Triple H took on The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28, when it was The Undertaker calling out Triple H for the match instead of Triple H calling out The Undertaker for that match. Like, Triple H, instead of being like, like Shawn Michaels being like, I want another shot, I want another chance, it was The Undertaker who, like... He won, but he felt like he didn't really win because he left there hurt. Like, kind of that kind of dumb stuff.
Sometimes they rush these nostalgia matches because every Mania needs a nostalgia match.
I agree.
And Triple H and Batista is going to be that nostalgia match, and sometimes they rush them.
Yeah, sometimes they just put it together way too quick. Let it build, let it simmer. Like it's like a good pot of Italian sauce. Just let it simmer for a little bit.
Absolutely.
So another match that I think could get moved to the kickoff show, depending on how things work out. But the Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, Usos, Ricochet and Aleister Black, Sheamus and Cesaro versus Rusev and Shinsuke. As of right now, it's on the main card. Do you see Ricochet and Aleister Black taking these titles? I think so.
Yeah, I was leaning Usos for a good portion of the time, and as I've thought about it, it's gonna be they're gonna lose on NXT on Friday. But I think it's gonna be they're gonna feel just fine after they win on Sunday.
So the thing is that they win this, then they're SmackDown exclusive for now while this brand extension's going
now.
in.
That's whatever. That's fine because we're gonna be back together as one soon enough.
Yeah.
So you got what do you have, Dustin?
There's been rumors that the Usos might leave.
They have just recently re-signed though. I've heard
that
they worked something out. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm gonna have to go Ricochet and Aleister Black.
Nobody's believing in Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. Boy, and again, this is
bad
we talk about our wrestling. They take us as wrestling fans. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura, obviously, we see how his year has transformed from one of what would be the main event of last year's WrestleMania.
Just
the hottest
another
thing.
ruined talent.
Yeah. He's just sitting there collecting dust.
Rusev is pretty much in the same spot he was at last year's WrestleMania. I think he was in a fatal 4-way for the U.S. belt with Jinder Mahal and stuff.
Rusev and Shin are they've been wasted for so long.
And when I hear anytime I hear Shinsuke's name, I think back to that Takeover where both him and Sami Zayn put on an absolute clinic.
Yeah.
It had to be close to what Meltzer would give like a 5-star match. And then they both come up, and it's just the quality of work went down, and I don't think any of it's their fault.
No, it's not. And speaking of Sami Zayn, I think he's on his way up soon.
Very soon, yeah.
Hopefully we'll see him sooner rather than later. It's been a while.
The Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag belts. This will be on the main show, probably just for the fact that it's got Beth Phoenix in the match. But it's Sasha and Bayley defending against the Iconics, Beth Phoenix, Natalia, and Tamina Snuka and Nia Jax.
Who keeps giving them title matches? They've lost 2 in a row. How are you still in the title picture?
Yeah.
I feel they didn't want to make, because the main event's a triple threat match, they probably don't want to make too many triple threat matches. I'm personally not a fan of triple threat matches.
No.
Because one person has to like pretend like they're down while the other two fight it out.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's good. I mean, we'll get to the main event later, but it's good for things like that. Who do you got in that match?
What do you got? This is a tough one. I'm gonna kind of go on a limb and say Tamina and Nia.
I'm gonna go with the Iconics. Totally kidding. I'm not doing that. I promise.
Okay.
I'm gonna. I can't pick the Iconics. Realistically, no way. It's, to me, I want to see Beth Phoenix and Natalya. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with it.
I would absolutely.
I'm in.
I want to see Beth Phoenix and Natalya 100%. Safe bet is Sasha and Bayley because we all have the rumblings of this 4 horsewomen pose at the end of Mania to go off the air. My heart's with Natalya for sure.
Yeah, I think I like what you did there. The hearts. That's nice.
Yeah,
well done. Well done.
So the IC title match: Bobby Lashley against what will be the Demon King Finn Balor. So I mean, they're just gonna give it back to Finn Balor. I think that seems obvious. I don't think this is probably a long match, actually.
No, this is going to be a quick one. I mean, the Demon's going to come out. Demon's undefeated. Demon wins the match. Sorry, Bobby Lashley, you're losing the title again.
I see like Leo Rush trying to help Bobby Lashley, but doing the opposite. Going to hit him hit Finn Balor with a chair, miss him, hit Bobby Lashley instead.
That's my only hope for this match is the Demon's entrance, which we're all going to love.
It's going to be fantastic.
And then also that this is Leo Rush's breakaway. Because he just has something. There's something about him. He's very entertaining. He's very athletic.
He's got that weird voice.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do something. So I'm hoping if anything comes from this match, for some reason Lashley assaults him again, something happens, and this is his breakaway. He's kind of done with Bobby, and
I hope
he fits in somewhere.
I like
for some reason, I'm thinking of this
there.
match. Now, WrestleMania 6, I think it was Andre the Giant's last stand in a match for WWE, and there's that infamous scene where he's like turning because he was a heel, and he's turning on because there was the Heenan family he was a part of with King Haku, and he's turning on Bobby Heenan at the Sky Dome, and it's like the big shot of like Andre's last match in WWF being like turning from a heel to a face, and I could kind of see that here with Bobby Lashley turning on Leo Rush. Kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, maybe and bring Bobby Lashley back to the face side.
I got to ask you guys real quick. Leo Rush, is that unique? His voice is weird, unique. What do we call it?
He's very unique. Yeah.
And plus, I got to tell
that's
you,
why he's there.
205 Live.
Okay.
They could use him on 205 Live.
Yeah, I think he's entertaining enough.
I honestly thought the very first time I saw him was on Raw. Admittedly, I don't watch a lot of 205, and I thought he was a rapper. I just was I'm like, should I just iTunes some of his stuff? But
No, that's Elias.
Yes.
Make sure we got to make sure you walk with Elias.
See, that's where I feel that John Cena is going to come in. John Cena is probably going to come in during an Elias segment. Now, is Elias going to do the segment in?
I love Elias.
I got Ambrose coming in. There's got to be some sort of retribution for that guitar shot, the random one, like 3-4 weeks ago on Raw when the Shield helped Ambrose off the ramp. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I mean, maybe. They obviously could keep Dean off if him going somewhere is true, and we've probably seen the last of him.
Yeah, why put him on Russell? Why put him on the show if he's going to be gone anyways at this point? Because you're done.
I'm surprised they put him on as much as they have. Most of the time, they try to write people off.
Unless it's a swerve, though. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, the reports have been wrong in the past. So
yeah.
I think it's just hard to understand because they don't normally give you like a send-off like this. Normally, you see Kurt Angle the day he was fired, Normally when they cut ties with somebody, they cut ties with somebody.
Me,
they don't normally, because they don't trust anybody.
They
don't really trust anybody to say, I'm going to leave in 2 months, but I'm going to do work for the next 2 months and I'll be on my... It's most jobs. I mean, they give you a 2-week notice at most.
Yeah.
Because how long can they really expect you to be performing your job respectfully and the right way, knowing you're going to leave?
If it's a work, they need to have something monumental for him. It needs to be huge. And the only thing that I could see is huge is Rollins is in the title picture. Roman's probably... But would we love that? Just because it's happened so many times. Like, the three of them just can't get their stuff together, and they just keep turning on each other or something happens. So
that's the only logical
It's been
thing.
Played out too much. It would be logical, but it wouldn't be big. It wouldn't be
WWE does things like this all the time. So
I could see the U.S. title match being another match just in case gets moved to the kickoff show last minute. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. I see Samoa Joe just winning this. If it's on the kickoff show, I see Rey Mysterio maybe picking it up. But if it's on WrestleMania, I see Samoa Joe kind of just defending.
Joe's got this. I mean, there's not much too much to add to this. It'll be a quality match. Samoa Joe's winning. He's retaining the title.
Well, Mysterio might not even be able to show up. They took him off SmackDown because of his ankle, because of the incident on Raw. Obviously, he's still advertised. They'll probably go right up until showtime
he'll probably do it.
Yeah,
I think he will. I think he'll. I mean, Ray's a tough son of a bitch. He'll be there.
Yeah.
The WWE title match, I could see this actual match being another potential show kickoff match. Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston kicking off the show. That's a potential. But either way, the WWE title match, Daniel Bryan against Kofi Kingston. This is, we talk about, people turning on people. Do we see the New Day turning on Kofi here? Do we see Kofi just winning and maybe that happening later down the line?
I felt like Daniel Bryan's promo on SmackDown kind of foreshadowed a little bit of New Day turning on Kofi. So there was a lot of undertones to it, and Daniel Bryan was mainly talking about the crowd turning on Kofi when they're done with him. But like I said, I don't have direct quotes, but if you go back and watch it, there was some undertones that kind of alluded to that New Day turn.
Yeah. I could totally see that. My heart's going with Kofi, man. He's just having a hell of a run.
They really dragged it out as far as they could. They really realized that they wanted to make him, if they were going to make him a champion, they made it for WrestleMania.
Tough,
they skipped the whole Fastlane thing and tried dragging this out as far as they could.
I'll say this.
I see him leaving with the belt.
I will say Kofi wins, but if he doesn't, the obvious move is New Day and them are done.
Yeah, I'm going to go Daniel Bryan, and because I feel like the fans will still accept it. So there's a difference. Like if you go back to WrestleMania 30, if Bryan didn't win, it was not going to be a good revolt.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
It was going to be a very negative reaction. Kofi not winning, somewhere people deep down are content with him still having his moment because he was in that spotlight. He was on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a match at WrestleMania.
And Bryan is on fire. Even his mannerisms now. He was just born to be a heel. I don't even know why we ever tried this baby face. Like it's almost like his eyes have changed. Everything about him is fantastic, and they will boo the hell out of him. Absolutely. Nobody's going to be happy, but they're going to be accepting. It's going to be that good crowd reaction, even if Bryan still wins. It's that good bad that you still want for a Mania moment.
I think it's still going to be a good match too. I think it's going to be enjoyable.
And moving on to the Universal title, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. I think it seems too obvious. I mean, to be honest with you, I was ecstatic last year at WrestleMania. That was the highlight of my trip to WrestleMania last year, seeing Brock Lesnar defend the belt, because every time Brock Lesnar is a champion, I just feel he's going to lose because there's all these, he's going to be in UFC next week. He's going to be in UFC tomorrow. And then he wins, and then his UFC date gets pushed and pushed and pushed.
So let's just cut to the chase.
Is this going to be the time that Brock Lesnar is now done
You're
with
picking
WWE?
Brock Lesnar, we know.
I gotta interrupt quick. As a previous fan of the show, before I was invited on today, I have seen you give him a hard time in past episodes about Lesnar. So this is fun for me to see in person.
I love Lesnar. He gives WWE that legitimacy.
But go ahead now. I was just excited to see it in person.
WWE the legitimacy. I would love this.
You're a Brock guy.
I am a Brock guy. I mean, I'll wear some Brock Lesnar socks.
I'm a Roman Reigns guy. So Roman Reigns guy. So he gives me crap for that. Brock Lesnar, can we just? I know you're gonna pick him. I get it.
I just love the legitimacy he brings to WWE. I love the rarity it is, so you know you're watching a pay-per-view versus Raw. I love that he's not on, because we have so much content. There's so much wrestling that I love something that is that is rare, that is not there all the time.
What does his contract look like? Just before we go any further, because I don't know.
It's fantastic for him because he
shows up
signed
on
ending soon.
I think it is.
I
think he was signed on till this year's. Well, he was signed on till last year's SummerSlam.
I think he's
and then he came back again.
Yeah, but it's short-term deals. It's short-term deals. I know that because his contract was up, and they're like, well, you want to come on for a few more months, and they re-signed him. For what I believe, his contract is probably up at WrestleMania.
About, like Lesnar Manias is it's always like, well, what's going to happen? And then because whatever he's doing in his life reaches mainstream media. So if Lesnar's contract's ending, everybody's going to know it's ending because ESPN, CBS Sports, Yahoo Sports, they're all reporting it. Yeah. So it kind of gives away.
But the last couple years, like WrestleMania 31, they told us that he renewed it because I thought he was losing to Roman Reigns 4 years ago. And the day before WrestleMania, he signed an extension.
If Lesnar's on till, we'll just say SummerSlam, I don't know who's winning this.
I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. It's Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
they're pushing him too much. Brock Lesnar, I'm sorry.
They love to have the Royal Rumble winner. You know, they love to have the face. But again, what's nice about these are not the main events. And what I mean by that is these are not what WrestleMania is going off the air with. So these are chances where you can see Daniel Bryan win the championship because they're not going off the air with a heel. They've only in like one time in history have gone off the air with a heel as your WrestleMania winner, as Triple H at WrestleMania 2000.
Jared.
Other than that,
Jared, here's the problem. and I've said this on, and you listened. He's a part-timer. I can't have a part-time champion. Seth Rollins is there every week.
I say Seth Rollins is winning, but I'll be rooting for Brock Lesnar.
Wow. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. Seth Rollins, he's the workhorse. I mean, Roman Reigns, workhorse as well. To me, the workhorses should be the champions. Sorry, Brock is like a special attraction. He doesn't need the title to bring the money in and bring the fans in, because people are going to see him regardless. Put the belt on Rollins. He needs it. Let's get it done.
I could see that. One of the things, and I'm going to give WWE credit for this, and I don't normally do that with the storytelling and stuff, they've built this match to make you believe that Seth can win. And I'm talking about going all the way back to Lesnar's other matches. As of recently, even Finn Balor, he's exposed weaknesses in Brock's game. And we're obviously talking from a story point where wrestling's real. You know what I mean? In the story, some small guys have almost got it done. Which, on a side note, I've respected Lesnar because they talk about him being hard to work with and difficult. He sells for guys. He sells for tiny guys. Yeah. He's sold for Balor, and the last few championship matches that Lesnar's had, they've gotten close.
He sold Bryan too.
He's starting to. So now it's believable because it's not as dominant like that first time Cena came out the gate and took the 16.
Yeah.
And then there was way more squash matches. So now it's Rollins is a student of the game. So in believability, he's studying Lesnar. He's watching what all these other small guys are doing to him. And if he's taking that into consideration, he can absolutely expose a weakness, capitalize, and win this match.
Yeah. So is that your pick, Seth Rollins?
I'm going to go Seth Rollins.
And the main event, they're making a big deal about this. Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, all the championships on the line. I think we're going to see Becky Lynch holding up 2 belts. It's going to be like WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan, but with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, we were talking about triple threats for a brief moment. This is why triple threats are fantastic, because Rousey can lose the title, and it doesn't look bad for her because she doesn't get pinned or submitted. So I
feel she's going to be taking some time off real soon. She wants to have a kid. She wants to have a family.
She wants to have a family. That's fine. So for me, I see it like this. Rousey out of the picture. She gets knocked down. Whatever happens. Becky, she makes Charlotte tap. Becky's holding the championship at the end of the show.
Okay.
I think that's pretty universal for a lot of. I think we're.
I mean, are we?
Yeah.
Are
no,
we on
I
board?
couldn't see anything other. I wish the buildup was completely different to this. It was a little chaotic. I don't think WWE knew. And then they have this habit of shoving things down our throat when they realize we like it. And I'm not talking about Roman where they tried to force him on us. It's anything. So it's we organically and naturally started to love Becky. We caught on to this man gimmick. We love it. And then WWE's like, oh, you love that? Here's more. Here's more. Here's her on every single show, multiple segments, and it's the reaction to her is slowly dropping off. And I just wish, could you imagine if they kept her off TV for a couple weeks? And now it would just be, it would go insane. Now it's kind of like you almost feel obligated to keep the man thing going, but it's like you can admit you're a little tired. That when she was on the announcer's table with SmackDown, the reaction wasn't great. It wasn't there anymore.
No.
It wasn't that just blow the roof off the place response.
I mean, she was still getting a little pop, but you're right. To your point,
they gave us too much.
Yeah,
they gave us too much.
Let her ride off
I feel what
the
they should have done.
suspension.
I know that this is all kind of last minute with the Charlotte Flair. If you were going to have the SmackDown title a part of this, you should have had. It should be a 4-way with Asuka involved. It should be Asuka, Charlotte, Becky, Ronda, both titles on the line, and all 4. So you have the 2 champions. And it can kind of be a continuation of last year when it was Asuka versus Charlotte. That would have been the better way to go, because then you're really displaying the best of the women's. Because again, you're displaying the 2 separate champions. That's what they want to do. And that's kind of why I felt this was weird that this was the main event, because I originally thought Asuka was going to be defending the women's championship, and I thought it's kind of funny. You're telling some women that they're at the top of the show, and you're telling other women you're probably going to be on the kickoff show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're like, one women's belt is so we're really raising up the women, but like it'd be like if the AFC championship game was on ESPN and the NFC championship game was not on television at all. You're telling one side of the coin that it's more important than the other.
Well, here's the thing.
So I thought that the best way for this should have been a 4-way.
It's A+ and everybody else. That's what it comes down to. It's you got the A+ players, and then you have everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
so if this is really supposed to be the women's Evolution pay-per-view in a match, it should have been a 4-way. It should have been Asuka, Charlotte, Becky, Ronda.
You said it on previous shows. I mean, it would have been great to put it in a fatal, make it a fatal 4-way, put all the belts on the line, and then just go. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Poor Asuka.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm a Charlotte guy. I am Charlotte through and through. She's probably one of my favorite superstars on the entire roster. But man, poor Asuka.
Yeah,
they
Asuka's
did her
taking a
dirty.
beating right now.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. You know this. You've probably heard it on our show multiple times. I haven't done this in a while. But I need some Bayley. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Bayley, to me, she's kind of like, I don't know if I'm looking at this wrong because I'm a huge Bayley fan myself. I feel like she's sitting behind Sasha in this tag team thing. I feel like Sasha always overshines her.
Yeah, Sasha has that.
She's got that star about her.
She really does.
You know what? This is gonna sound cliche, but Bayley's just huggable. That's just how it is.
No, I love Bayley. I saw
she's good in the ring.
Bayley at the Armory down in Albany was when NXT came up here, and that was like when my true love affair with her really began. And
awesome.
since
Never
then,
been a Bayley
yeah.
guy. Never been a Bayley guy. I know we shouldn't be focused on looks here, but not a Bayley guy.
I'm talking about in ring. Come on now.
But even so, I'm just not a huge. I'm more of a Sasha Banks. If I had to pick one of those two, obviously it's Sasha Banks over Bayley.
So is it in ring or is it the whole package?
The whole package.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I mean, yeah, because sometimes in ring, but you got, and that's the thing that's great about wrestling. It's not UFC, it's not NFL. You have to have the whole package.
Side note, real quick before we finish up. Did you guys know who's a couple now in WWE?
No,
Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
get out of here.
Out of town. Yep.
He's not with that
Nope.
lady that revealed all his naked pictures from a couple years ago.
I'm surprised you guys haven't seen it. Social media's been buzzing. They're
No.
Yeah, they're.
So I'm gonna hit the Google when I get out of here for
it's
sure.
like official, but it's. I mean, it's not Facebook official, but like.
That's a power couple.
That's
like a Brad and Jen.
I like it.
That is a
Not Finn
WWE
Balor and
power
Becky
couple.
Lynch? Got the Irish thing going?
No, because Finn. I think Becky looks at Finn
Balor's
kind of
still
like
with
a
Kathy
big
Kelly.
brother.
Yeah.
I think it's Finn Balor still with Kathy Kelly. I think that's who he was with last.
I'm not 100%. I will say this. The way I look at Finn and Becky looks up to Finn like a brother. That's to me. I feel like they'd be an odd pairing. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you guys haven't seen it. There's been pictures online. It could be all, they could be just, hanging out, being good friends. But to me, I think they're an item.
So is John Oliver going to get what he wants? Is he going to get the chance from the fans for the health coverage and the retirement
I don't
package?
think it'll be that big
It's
of a
not
deal.
going to be as disruptive.
I don't think so.
No.
Are we going to see? We going to see anyone special? Are we going to see Ziggler return? Are we going to see Hogan? Is Hogan going to be part of this?
I feel Hogan will be a part of it. I bet you they'll do something with Hogan coming out, maybe to start the show.
He'll just say brother a couple times.
Yeah,
and call it
we're
there.
back here at the Silver Dome.
Yeah.
Or he'll call it Giant Stadium. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yes, he will.
He'll call it Giant Stadium or Yankee Stadium or something. And other than that, I don't see. I feel returns are for the Rumble. Other than that, it's the Monday Night Raw after.
Okay.
Who do we see on Monday Night Raw? Do we see any big returns? Is that where we see Sami Zayn?
Possible. I will say this. I say this every time there's supposed to be some debuts. Velveteen Dream, Monday Night Raw.
What do you see returning? Do you see Bray Wyatt returning at WrestleMania, or you see him returning after on Raw and SmackDown?
It would be underwhelming for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's kind of my pick. I mean, that's my unofficial pick. I'm picking Strowman. Like if I had to put money down, it's Strowman. Unofficial pick, it's Bray Wyatt's going to return.
You see him on Raw or SmackDown coming up. I think
But
SmackDown.
an early congratulations. I think I might be the first in the whole world to say early congratulations to Michael Che and Colin Jost, future inductees in the WWE Celebrity Wing of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely. How could you not do it? They're running out of celebrities at this point.
Yeah, at this point, yes.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, a lot of the celebrities that they put in back in the day. I mean, Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble for all of 4 seconds, and he's in the Celebrity Wing of Hall of Fame. So
Man,
and he
we
wasn't
got-
even advertised for that.
They
He
should
was just a
have a-
last-minute addition.
Can I
So,
go in the ring for like 4 seconds? How something? and just be in the Hall
Unfortunately,
of
you're
Fame?
not a
Yeah, I'd
celebrity.
take one of those
You would
rings.
be only a celebrity because you were in the ring for 4 seconds at WrestleMania.
I'll take a Braun bump. That's fine.
Braun, I mean, you could be his next tag team champion partner, as last year we saw him team up with that 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, which the 10-year-old kid is actually the
That's
referee's
an
kid.
example, and for
The
everybody at
referee's
home
kid.
that gets
Yes,
excited
yes,
about
okay.
WrestleMania, that's a great example of what WrestleMania
John
really
Cohen,
is.
I think it was.
I remember in the concession line last year talking with people. There was a guy from Toronto. There was a guy from Chicago.
Of course there was a
we
guy
were
from
talking about
Toronto.
who.
Love Toronto.
We were talking about who Braun Strowman's partner later in the night was going to be, and they were saying Hogan. People were saying, maybe Cena. People were saying Hogan was a big one. Hogan
like
was
to get
and it
creative.
ended up
It's
being
fun.
a 10-year-old kid, and ended up being super lame. So all these great examples of what could happen at
Then what-
WrestleMania. It's probably going to be who's going to win the Battle Royal. It's going to be a 10-year-old kid.
SmackDown will save this Mania, and that includes Charlotte and Becky. I really think this is like we're gonna merge, or even if we don't merge, you're still gonna get the superstar shakeup. But the way things are panning out right now, I really feel like this is a SmackDown year. If we're gonna have a good Mania, it's
I mean, with the Fox deal coming up too, I mean, they want SmackDown
it's
to
gonna
improve.
be because of SmackDown. SmackDown and video packages will save this, because video packages always save everything for any type of lack of build-up or storyline.
Pyro.
And Pyro.
Jared's favorite.
I mean, yeah. I mean, don't even. We can.
Every-
there will be pyro,
Every time there's a big event, it's always pyro.
Okay.
but
there's
we didn't
no
get it at
pyro
the
or is
Rumble.
pyro?
We didn't get it at the Rumble, but I think we're getting it at WrestleMania. We have to get it at WrestleMania.
It's outdoors. Come on.
It's outdoors. Yeah, you're not gonna.
I think we got it at WrestleMania last year when there was no pyro.
The whole budget will be spent on WrestleMania pyro.
Well, their whole budget is really just WrestleMania and the Saudi shows.
That's true.
So I would love to see the return of pyro in general. I'd love to see WrestleMania have shitty pyro and just have pyro all year round versus just one show a year. But
I agree.
we get what we get.
I agree.
So we'll get to see at least pyro. That'll be a guarantee. We'll see at WrestleMania. So WrestleMania this Sunday starts at 7 o'clock. They know they go as long as they do. I think they can push this up to 6 o'clock for a start. We don't need to start the show at 7.
I'm totally
when you
okay
know
with that.
you're going past
Yeah.
12. When you know you're going past 12, they can start this thing at 6 o'clock, maybe even 5 o'clock. They can even probably make the kickoff show 1 hour, start the whole damn thing at 5 o'clock, and just have the whole thing be WrestleMania and be over at 11.
Absolutely.
But maybe that's for future years. Unfortunately, we'll be outside in the cold until like 12:20 in the morning in New
Enjoy
York
it. I'll
City.
be sitting on my couch.
Yeah,
Eating like
Absolutely.
$9 hot dogs. So, all right, that's it for this week's edition of the Heel to Face podcast, a WrestleMania special. Follow us on Twitter, as always, at Heel to the Face. That's where we post the links for all our shows. As you can find Icebreaker21 on Twitter, myself at KRock Jared, and at Houston Collect. And follow him on Instagram at Houston Collector. We'll see you next week. I'll try to post some videos from New York City as well if I get a chance. But either way, we'll have a brand new show next week. The whole follow-up from WrestleMania, as the opening day of WWE is Monday night, and we'll discuss all of it. Once
I had a
again,
blast.
this has been the Heel to Face podcast.
Thanks. Hey, I just want to say, Dustin, great job. You're part of the Heel to the Face podcast family. So
Oh man, was I nervous? But honestly,
No, you
thank
did a
you,
great-
gentlemen.
you
This
guys-
has absolutely been a blast.
great
right.
job. Great job. We'd love to have you on again.
Absolutely.
WrestleMania
Thank you guys.
this Sunday, New York City, MetLife Stadium. Keep warm, everybody. We'll see you next week.